Again, even though I'm going to give you a general categories of those offenses, it's incumbent upon a judge to turn specifically to the statutory language of this new amendment to look to and determine whether or not those prior convictions apply in your particular case. The first of those prior felonies that would exclude a defendant for treatment as a second strike offender are certain sexually violent offenses. They are those listed in Welfare and Institution Code, Section 600, and they are crimes which make a defendant eligible for being a sexually violent predator. Important to note here is that the statute doesn't say that the defendant must be a sexually violent predator, but instead it indicates that if the defendant has been convicted of a crime that would qualify him for a sexually violent offender treatment. In addition, certain sex offenses where the victim is under 14 will disqualify a person for second strike treatment, as will specified homicide offenses in the history disqualify a person for treatment. Interestingly, the statute specifically does not include manslaughter. So I assume that would apply to all manslaughter convictions, voluntary, involuntary, and vehicular manslaughter, because they all come under the penumbra of being manslaughter charges. And the only exclusion is for homicide offenses. Another prior felony that will cause an exclusion is solicitation to commit murder. In addition, assault with a machine gun on a police or fireman. Possession of a weapon of mass destruction is a disqualifier, and any offense of which the defendant has been convicted by which he was punished by life or death. The question may become in this situation, will it apply to persons who are not eligible or subject to a life offense, not because of the offense itself, but because of an enhancement, the most notable being under 12022.53, where a defendant uses a weapon causing great bodily injury or death. Does that mean a defendant is disqualified for treatment as a second strike offender? Again, turning to the plain language of the statute, which we must in determining how to consider this statute, the word here used and the phrase used in the statute is that an offense punishable by a life term. It does not indicate just simply any crime or any time the defendant has been punished by a life term or subject to death. So it seems to me the enhancements would not be used under the plain language of the statute as an exclusion under this subdivision. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. I think the statute is pretty clear about that. It's the offense that governs it, not an enhancement.